Coming to you straight from the Rio Grande and beyond. Broadcasting to the four corners of the globe. So grab your seat, your coffee, or your sundowner.
Okay, everybody, here we go.
On point, as always. This is Gloves Off. Gloves Off.
So when I was working on Selena, the series for Netflix, to play the role of Abraham Quintanilla, I put on a specific amount of weight, which I was fine doing, but also realizing it could be difficult to get that weight off. I got back into my physical regimen with James Leha, but I was still having trouble with just those last amounts. And that's when I got to meet Arturo from Laredo Medical Weight Loss Clinic. And just the products that he gave me kind of put me over the edge. I feel great about myself.
Four. We're back at you in Gloves Off. Professor Buitron. I'm here with a great guest, one I call a brother in the arts, Grandmaster Peter Freedman. And we're going to touch base just in martial arts in general, training. There's a lot of people out there that are looking for training, want to train, want to develop themselves a little bit better, but run into roadblocks. How are we doing today, my brother? You doing good?
Oh, we're doing really well today. Thank you for asking. It's good to be on the show again.
Anytime. You know, we always love having you because you've been around for a very long time. And what happens is you've seen a lot of things come and go within the martial arts between fads, you know, and usually martial arts are monkey see, monkey do. One person does something and everybody else is doing it. So, and it's good in a way, but in other it becomes, it really doesn't work. But how have you been? How's everything?
Everything's going well. I got some new students in. We'll see how long they last. You know how that goes. I have students that have been with me for like 20 years. I'm trying to get rid of them. But they love it. You know, when people come in, you know, a lot of questions. It's funny that you wanted to talk about this today because a lot of new students that are coming in, they're concerned about self-defense and real self-defense. And then the next question is, how long do they have to do this for? How long do they have to commit for? Because they don't want to do this for the rest of their life. They just want to do a few classes and be able to defend themselves, and they're on their way. And to be truthful, I tell them it depends on them. Depends on what level of ability you want to develop, and you got to put some effort into it.
You know, I look at it this way. A lot of people come in. I'm going to talk about it in the kid sense, okay?
Yeah.
Below 13 years of age.
Yeah.
Parents are coming in with their kids because they're being bullied at school. Right? That happens.
Yeah.
They don't want to bring them to class because they have band, they have basketball, football, baseball, cheerleading, glee club, whatever. And it's fine and dandy. But some of these, you know, you have people that are training in band, and these kids are 12 years old, 13 years old, and they're up to midnight marching up and down fields. I think, how far is training? You know what I'm saying? And then they come back and they say, well, little Billy, little Jill is not learning. Well, you haven't brought them in the last 2 weeks. And when you do bring them, you pull them out early because he has to go to some other activity. So, you know, that I'm looking at it in the sense of kids. So the parents go, well, when he's not learning, well, he's not training. Well, because he's doing basketball or he's doing something else. But in basketball, they're making them put not over an hour time. They're making them be there 2-3 hours. Football and so forth. So the dedication to those sports, I just come up and tell them, you know, why don't you tell the basketball coach or the football coach or the band leader to teach them how to defend themselves, because they're over there all the time. Tell them, because the bully's also going to go and do those sports as well.
Yeah.
And they don't seem to grasp it. If you want to learn martial arts, and if you want, people want to start at a young age. You have to have a training consistency. And I think the word is consistency. It's not about discipline. It's about being constantly training. And people, my brother, they say, well, I get the bag at home. So they buy bags. You had a weightlifting gym. They buy weights. They put them in their garage. And then they say, I'm not getting big. I'm not getting my biceps aren't growing. I'm not losing weight. Well, you have it there at the house, so you never really train. You just have it. Becomes furniture. I don't know if I'm right or wrong. But
no, you are right. Yeah.
I think that we are in a point in time that everything is on video. Everything's so easy to grasp that people don't want to put their time in to learning. I don't know, have you seen that?
Of course. Yeah. I have people come in. I'm dealing mostly with adults. I don't have a kids class. I'm set up a little different than you. We don't have a commercial school. This is more of a private club or a private dojo. I'm now calling it the House of Freedman. You know what I mean? That's going to be my new thing. I'm going to come out with shirts that say that, the House of Freedman. And we don't have a kids class. Our classes are set up for adults, but I do train kids. I have two kids right now, two boys, young boys. They're each 10 years old. They don't train together. I do privates only with kids, and their parents get involved with them. So I interview the parent, I interview the kid. I want to sit down with them before I accept the kid. I've turned a lot of parents away and told them I think they should go do something else because the kid doesn't have the focus and the want to be here. Commitment is a hard thing nowadays because the parents are all over the place with their kids. Like you said, they're in soccer, they're in basketball, baseball, football, hockey. They're on the what do you call it, where you compete against other schools for spelling and stuff like that. And that's all wonderful, but how serious is it that they want to learn how to defend themselves? If they want to do that, they have to commit in the time. They have to they have to spend time in the training. They need the education in the martial arts. Then they got to go home and practice it, right? I don't have a steady school. I teach the private kids class once a week. And it's different for each kid. So I have one kid on Sunday, another kid on Monday. If I get any other kids, they'll have to come in on a different day. The parent gets involved. I tell the parent, here's the drill. I do the drill with the kid. Then I have the parent do the drill with the kid. Then they go home and it's up to them to practice. Now I may get 5 new students, and within a month, they're all gone. They gave up. They paid for the month, come to 2 classes, and I don't see them again. I got one guy right now. He pays me for the month, comes once. Then the following, he blows his whole payment because he doesn't come in for the rest of the month. And then the following month, he comes back and pays me for another month. And this has been going on for 6 months, and he only comes in maybe once or twice a month. That's it. He's wasting his money. I feel bad for the guy. I text him all the time, telling him, listen, you're wasting your money. Either don't come here or pay by the class. He goes, no, I want to pay by the month. What it is I think in their mind that just joining a dojo is enough. They don't have to be here for the training. You got to get the training. You need the practice.
You're absolutely correct. We have kids in the sense, but our main focus, our main element is adults. Teens above, and I used kids as a comparison because they're doing a lot of things. Adults are, and you have a lot of adults that come in, they want to train, they start training, and then all of a sudden class is at a certain time because our class is always at the same time throughout the week. And then all of a sudden you see this with men and women, it kind of differs, if they're in the young age, and I say young age between 20 to 35, well, happy hour is going to come in is more important than training. You know what I mean? Friday nights, nobody's going to come because guess what? They're getting ready to go out.
Yep.
Saturday mornings, forget about that because a lot of them are tired
Hungover.
over because of Friday night. And if you have a class on Saturday, it's only going to be the really hardcore guys that really want to learn.
Yeah.
And so I've seen that consistency. You see, you see them. How can I put it? Martial arts to many people, I'll say this: martial arts is a luxury. Period. Martial arts is also on the lowest of the totem pole.
Yeah.
Okay. People do not worry about martial arts until they start hearing in the news whether a serial rapist, serial killer, gangbangers on the loose, and all of a sudden, well, guess what? I think I need to start training,
And
and
then it's too late.
and it's too late, But then they come into class and they think that in one class they want to learn everything. It takes time, and
Yeah.
it takes time to develop a punch. It takes time to develop a kick. It takes time to understand reflexes. And and if you're punching and kicking like we do, we punch and kick, and we're constantly touching everybody. People need to understand that it's something that is it's repetitive, and you have to
Takes
do it.
commitment. Yeah.
Sometimes life gets in the way. Some people work at night schedules, so you offer noon classes. Well, then all of a sudden, guess what? They don't come noon because they fell asleep or what have you. So it's always a different problem with everybody. And I get that. And a lot of people are committed of training. Like you said, you have that one person that comes twice a month. I have the same. I have several of them that come twice a month, and for them it fulfills it. And I tell them, you have to, if you come to that time, you do 100% of it, go back and train it at home. But if you're
Yeah.
not training, there's
I've
nothing you
been,
can do.
it's funny because I've been to two um, gatherings or workshops within 3 weeks. One was a Wing Chun workshop, and one was a Filipino martial arts gathering I just did this past Saturday. Now, I didn't go to teach. I went to just kind of mingle and meet people and talk. And Tim Hartman was there. Was it Dean Franco was there? There was a bunch of great martial artists. I can't say all their names off the top of my head, but I got to meet a lot of great martial artists. And at the Wing Chun event, I hooked up with this Asian gentleman who he's in his 70s. And I brought three students, and they paid, and they were doing their thing. They were doing Wing Chun. We don't do Wing Chun. So they went just to learn and see what it's like. It's funny because he picked out my three students individually, and my students were training with different people. And he
Right.
saw something in these three students, and he didn't know they knew each other or they were together. And he worked with them individually. And he says, every one of them, he asked them, who's your teacher? And they pointed to me. And then he came over to me and introduced himself. I introduced myself. And then he kept looking at me and he says, you look familiar. He's from Boston, Chinatown, and I'm from the South End in Boston. But we know all the same people, in the same circle, martial arts circle I'm talking about. So he says to me, and there were other masters at this Wing Chun seminar um, who also said the same things that he said throughout the workshop. I was talking to each one of them individually. I went to watch and just watch how my students play, and I know the guy that was throwing it on. And all of these martial art teachers at this one and at the Filipino event I was just at, they all say the same thing. It's about the topic on what we're talking about right now. They said back in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the mindset of the people were different. They were more committed to doing their martial art. So they took it serious, where they signed up for the dojo and they went every day. And then when they couldn't make it, they would practice at home. And they said today, the martial art has been watered down where they're just, they take your money, you come in, you do a quick workout, you're on your way. And before you know it, people are dropping out left and right. People aren't serious anymore like they used to be. And it's amazing. I don't know if I've been thinking maybe it's the food, maybe it's the air because we're being sprayed with stuff in the air. There's a lot of poisons in our food, our water. Maybe that's affecting people's brain. I notice everybody around lately is like exhausted. They're mentally tired, they're physically tired. And I think by the time they make time for other activities, then they got to think about going to a dojo and moving around. They don't realize if they do go to a dojo and move around, it's going to increase their energy to do other things. That's the funny part. If they came and showed up and did their physical training, it works their mind. Martial art works the mind. It'll strengthen their mind so they'll have more energy to get more accomplished throughout the day. They don't see it that way. Something's missing there that they just can't comprehend that.
Absolutely. I see that. I see
Yep.
they come in and they tell you, well, I want to learn to compete in the ring. Well, first you have to know basics.
Yeah.
It can take you a while to pick them up.
Yep.
Then you're going to be tested to see if you actually have it to fight in the ring.
Yep.
You're going to be rolled inside the school. And I'm not talking about rolling in the ground. You're going to put on the gloves and
Yeah.
you're going to go a little bit harder. You're going to spar a little bit harder. And maybe you might quit. Maybe you might not. So people need to understand that the difference is there. So people have a convoluted way of thinking that martial arts is the same. Like it's easy. Like I could just do it. I go to Gold's Gym and they have a class of aerobic kickboxing. Oh, that I already did that. That's kickboxing, so I can go in the ring. No, it's not. You know, you know. So people have a misconception of what it takes to get good at something.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's what we're facing in the arts today. But every so often, you get those students that say, you know what, I'm doing great. I'm moving forward. I'm training. I'm learning. Thank you. Let's continue going forward. And you start getting good students, like you said, yours, and they stick with you. I also have students that have been with me since 91, 92, and in the 90s that are still students of mine today.
Yeah.
They're still training. And I just saw them 2 weeks ago. And it's interesting because the art of whatever, I don't care whether it's savate, karate, judo, jiu-jitsu, whatever, you have to be consistent in your training.
Yeah, you do.
You can be dedicated to a school and show up once or twice a month, and I'm still dedicated to that school. I'm still dedicated to that art, but that doesn't mean, that's the dedication that you have. So sometimes those students that go once or twice a month, something sparks in them, and all of a sudden you start seeing them every day.
Yeah.
It occurs, because I said the older you are, the more life splits from what you really want to attain at. And people need to start centering themselves in, I think, saying, you know what, I'd rather go train over there than go to the bar over here and drink a couple of sundowners and act like a fool and maybe get in trouble with the law, or maybe do get in a fight and what have you.
I have about 7 steady students. That's it, out of thousands that I've taught. I started teaching in the late 70s. 1970s, I started teaching people how to protect themselves. Out of the thousands of students I have, I got 6 or 7 that are still with me. I have students that are spread out all over the country. They don't even call me anymore. They're advanced students. They don't stay in touch. We don't email. They don't call. They don't text. It's like I'm the forgotten guy until they talk to someone and my name comes up, that somebody they're talking to brings my name up. Now I'm important again. Now, hey, sensei, hey, guru, how you doing? Yeah, I was talking to so-and-so. Now I'm important. And then they fade out again. You don't hear from them anymore. That's fine. That's life. I get a lot of people, they come in, they train, and then they get caught up somewhere else. They drop out. And then when they come back, they got to start over. That's like a big waste of time, if they just practiced at home 10 minutes a day. So if they took a year off and they come back, they don't have to start over. They're probably even got a little bit better and now I can build on that, you know? So today, the commitment with people, it's this is all I do for a living. I teach martial arts. I don't do anything else. I don't do anything. This is my living. So this is my business. And then when I get people that come in and they tell me, I want to do this, I want to be able to defend myself, and then they have no coordination, they have no mental focus, and I'm trying to teach them, they get frustrated and they quit. If they quit with me, they probably quit with everything else that they're doing as well. The martial art trains you for life. It isn't just about fighting. It's about how you can listen to someone tell you things you don't like to hear, and you have to, be able to take that and analyze that and not get upset. The martial art helps you with that. The martial art also helps you with your health. It teaches you how to research things. So now you can research your food, you can research the laws. There's so much it gives you, that people just don't get. They just think it's only fighting. That's a small part of the art. The biggest part is the mental control you get. And I think they're missing the boat. I mean, I don't know what to say to help them realize that, but it's too bad. And I get a lot of great people that come through my doors, but they don't last. Another thing, you probably had this happen to you. You'll get a new student, he'll take one class and he'll tell you how you're the best thing since sliced bread. He wants to train 7 days a week. Could he bring a sleeping bag and sleep in the dojo? He's going to work out. He's going to be your best student. He's going to be the highest rank. Guess what? You don't come back. Yeah, he's telling you, he's filling your head full of crap, telling you, oh yeah, you're better, you're this, because he knows he ain't gonna come back. I have a student in Boston, you know him, Indio, right? So Indio calls me up one day and he says, Sensei, I was training this guy. I was showing him this, I was showing him that. He goes, what about this? What about that? And I showed him, and he said, this guy loves it. He wants me to teach more days a week. He wants me to give him privates and this and that. I said, Indio, that guy ain't coming back. He goes, no, he is. He told me he loves it. He wants to go 7 days a week. I said, he ain't coming back. He said, yes, he is. You'll see. A week later, Indio calls me and says, that son of a bitch, he never came back. What a bastard. I said, I told you he wasn't coming back. He goes, how did you know that? I said, because I had that happen.
I mean, we get that all the time. We get that, and they even pay, and they don't come back.
Yeah.
You see that now. I think people know the necessity of learning how to defend themselves is out there more now than ever.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Now it's dangerous.
People are trying to learn whatever it is, and a lot of people are going to go with the fads. That's normal. And fads are, it depends. They come and go. But you're from the street. You've been in the streets in Boston, and if I tell you what are the things the Boston, I'll put it this way, underworld uses to defend themselves, it's going to be boxing and what else?
Well, you got wrestling. You got some of them learn judo. I'll tell you, kids that go to a boxing school, a judo school, and a wrestling school are going to be more effective on the street than if they do all this other fancy stuff. Because those, you're going full hard all the time. You're learning how to take a hit. You're learning how to throw a punch. You're learning how to grapple, how to throw. And in a lot of the other schools where they're just doing things in the air or they're lightly touching each other because they're afraid of losing a student, they're not going to learn real combat that way. You got to get hit. You got to work out. You got to do something,
So what I'm trying to get at, those arts are the arts that are what's needed in the street.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now in France will be savate in boxing.
Yep.
In England's going to be boxing and kickboxing. So why? Because you're hitting yourself.
Yeah.
Doesn't have that much time, and that's what we're trying to teach people. You want people to learn how to defend themselves quickly, assertively, and concisively.
Yep.
Everything else is different. I tell people, if you want to go find yourself spiritually, there's a synagogue, there's a mosque, and there's a church. And you can go to any one of them anytime you want.
Yeah.
Go find yourself there. But if you're going to go to a martial arts school to find yourself because you think Obi-Wan Kenobi is here, it ain't going to happen. Here you're going to learn how to defend yourself. And then through that, you're going to start learning self-respect and respect to others and everything else that comes into it.
The wonderful, wise boxing master, Mike Tyson, says, everybody has a plan till they get punched in the face.
Absolutely. You know, one of your old guys up there, you know, the molasses mauler, Jack Dempsey, used to say, what is the secret about fighting is who gets there firstest with the mostest.
Yeah.
And that's the way it is. And people need to understand that.
Yeah. It's too bad. There's a lot of good people out there that are really wonderful people. And when violence hits them, they're not going to know what to do. They're going to panic. And I tell my students, I said, you know, you got to learn this because I can't be there with you to bodyguard you. I can't walk around with you. You're going to be out there doing your own thing with your family. And you got a lot of illegal murderers and rapists and killers in this country that came in through the border, and they're already wrecking havoc. Look at how they're taking over compartment complexes in, was it Aurora, Colorado, and now it's going, they were doing it in New York, and they're doing it in other places now. They're just jumping people on the street and beating the crap out of people. You got to know something today. It's a necessity, not a luxury. However, the sad news is people put martial arts as their luxury. So if something goes, that's the first thing they cut out, and that's the most thing they need nowadays. You never know when sudden violence is going to jump out at you. You need to be prepared. You got to be ready. You have to surprise the bad guy. He comes at you with whatever he has. All of a sudden, you're a trained, skilled surgical striker. You got your locks, your throws. You know how to use a weapon. You're carrying a pencil on you. You know what to do with a pencil. You know, even a credit card, you can open up someone's artery with a credit card. So you're at the pump, you get gas with your debit card. Somebody comes up, defend yourself with your debit card. But people don't want to invest the time. You can't learn it in a few classes. You can't learn it in a few months. You got to invest some time until you feel comfortable. You can move with balance and you have strength in your hands. When you grab somebody or hit somebody, you won't break your own hand. You got to invest the time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Folks, I hope you guys like this. Share it, comment, ask questions. That's the only way we can get this dialogue out there to everybody, you know.
Yeah. And we're both here for questions. You and I.
And this type of conversation, especially with us here in Gloves Off, is we're trying to allow and inform the community about issues that are out there.
Yeah.
And yet we're not complaining about our students because I love my students to death. You know,
I do too. Yeah.
One of them. But we need to understand that when you do go train, put 100% into it.
Yeah.
Do the best. Do your best. And that's the way we go.
There's people, they think that they can learn martial art with a few techniques. We call them dojo hoppers. They go hop from one dojo to another, just collecting techniques. Last night I had a conversation because one of the guys was doing a technique. We did one concept with 3 or 4 different principles, and it just blew his mind. I think that locked him in. That made him more curious. He wants to learn more. So I think he's going to be sticking around for a while. You get a vibe. You get a vibe from the people who are going to stick with it and the people that are going to just go out the door. You know, people that want things quick, they want the belt, they want to learn everything quick. They're not going to last with you. People that come in and they're focused on learning the footwork and how to do a proper punch. Those are the guys that are going to stick with you. Also, the guys that struggle are the ones that will last longer. The guys that learn really fast and easy, the guys and girls, they quit. You don't see them. They'll take a month or two. You won't see them because they get bored because they learn too fast. And what they may learn, but they don't have the experience. Once you learn it, then you have to develop the experience.
Absolutely. Well, my brother, thank you for the words. It's for you guys out there. You all, we're gonna leave you with this. You all stay safe, be safe, and God bless you. And we'll be in touch, and we will touch base on some other stuff that comes up.
Thank you, Professor. And we're here if they have questions. That's what we're here for. We're trying to help them. So even if you've never studied anything before and you want to learn, yes, you can learn how to defend yourself and be very effective, but you have to start now. You can't wait for it to happen and then start. It's too late. Get started now. We're both here. We can both help you. You're out there in Texas. I'm over here in New Hampshire. So they have two places they can go to right away.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks. You all stay safe, be safe, and God bless you. Until next time, much peace.